to the Sci-Chi Network, and I'm just going to be quick and brief on this. I'm giving my reaction to the Snyder Cut. Not really action, more of a review. I personally, I'm interested in this movie. I'm going to want to watch it. I mean, it's on HBO Max. I already got HBO Max, so it's not really much of a hard pass to go on it. Yes, I've seen the movie before, saw it in theaters, and wasn't a huge fan of the original. I don't think this is going to change that much. I mean, it's just, for me right now, looking at this trailer, is mainly to see what was missing before. I mean, you could see shots like in this, the shots of Superman screaming is too literal for me. I'm just going to break it down. So what I'm saying about the Superman screaming, the bell is rung, this one thing that I have a problem with Zack Snyder is he's too literal at a point where he has to literally tell you the bell is rung, so he has to have Superman scream it out. And it's like, okay, we get it. You don't have to do all this stuff. And this universe right now has been so fractured. So, I mean, what a style. He does that. He does the whole flying around montages and all that stuff. It's all more about style rather than substance. Now, I think a lot of fans who are going to want to love this movie are going to love it. At the end of the day, I think this movie is not really going to change anybody's main opinion of it. If people were somewhat lukewarm to this movie, they'll like it probably a little bit more, and people who hate it might just slightly hate it more, or people who love it are just going to love it more. There's not going to be that much in between ground because there's a lot of groundwork that was not set up before, and these characters aren't going to change. Like with the Flash, Ezra Miller, he wasn't really that good. I didn't really think he was that good. And even Cyborg character is boring. Even if they introduced more to it, he needed a movie. And the Flash also needed a movie. And Aquaman now, since he already has a movie, now we can understand a little bit more. But watching the movie before, even if the Snyder Cut was released before, we still wouldn't have known much about Aquaman. So we're now playing catch up with everything before. That would be like watching, I hate to do this comparison, but that'd be like watching the Avengers and then watching the previous movies. Then or just actually, in a way, watching the Avengers, then watching the previous movies, then watching the Avengers again. You'll have a different understanding of the Avengers the second time rather than the first time because you hadn't seen the previous stuff. Now that we have seen the previous stuff, we've seen Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman came out like right before Justice League, and then Aquaman came out after. And you had Shazam, which is now still not going to be in this movie, and you also had Aquaman. I said Aquaman after this. You have Wonder Woman twice now, and there's going to be a lot of things that this is not going to play out to. So. Personally, I saw the trailer. I think it's interesting. I'm going to see it. I can't wait to see it almost because now it's just like it's been so hyped up from fans and it's like finally this is just over with because I wasn't really nuts about watching this in the first place. So the fans have really just pushed this. Yeah, now that it's here, it's just kind of like, okay, well, I'll just check it out. And that's about it. But with Zack Snyder, he's doing too much style. It's just too much style. All these things like, oh, Superman's a god. But it's like, okay, well, if Superman's a god, but Shazam is a literal god. Like, he is literally an actual god. Like, his powers are gods, like powers. And then you also have Wonder Woman, who's also a god. So it's like you have two characters who are literal gods versus Superman, who's a Kryptonian, who gets his powers from the sun, who only has godlike powers because of the sun. So the sun is really granting him these abilities. It's not like he was born to have these abilities. It's just the sun that's enhancing him. So it's like a person who's taking steroids versus a person who's naturally born talented. These people are, well, Shazam, he has to say his name, but whatever. These are characters who are super powerful. Even Aquaman has been doing stuff that's amazingly powerful. He's talking to animals and picking up tridents that nobody else could pick up. So you already have these characters who are like godlike, and then you're sitting here going, well, the god has died, and it's like, really? Did he really die? Because there's a bunch of other ones that have been here, and there's a lot of things that just don't compete. Like, why are you putting Darkseid in this movie? Again, you're adding a character who, personally, I don't know much about. I mean, I know about him in in the comic books he's here for life equation. But if I didn't know about that, then I'm just seeing another big guy. You know, people who don't know anything about these comic books aren't really given information. You're literally making this movie for the hardcore fans, and when you're doing that, you might as well just make the comic book or just re-release the comic book. There's no reason to make a $200 million movie for fans unless you want to just LARP or just dress up. You want to do that? Do that on your own time. But a $200 million movie, you're here to bring in new people, so you got to do that. Other than that, yeah. So trailer, yay, nay? I have to say mixed in there. Yeah, it did go a little bit longer than expected, but yeah, it's just a mid. I'll show you a little bit of the clips right after this, but yeah, it's just an for me. I'm interested, but not really gonna go nuts about it.